You know, they say that you should always treat others the way that you want to be treated. But I'm into really hardcore S&M, so that doesn't work for me. I can't just go around spanking everyone I meet. A few years ago, my mother asked me if I'd be willing to go on a date with the daughter of one of her coworkers. I agreed to go, but I wasn't really interested in impressing her, so I took her to the Olive Garden.
I work there!
Some of you apparently have done that. While we were waiting for our food, we made small talk to get to know each other better, and at one point she asked me if I was ticklish, and I said, nope, I'm Irish. She didn't think that was funny. She choked on her breadstick and got the hiccups. I stared at her without blinking for a solid minute and said, you know, after dinner I think I'm gonna rape you. She said, you're gonna rape me? I said, no, I just wanted to cure your hiccups. Then I went to take a sip of my soda, but I ended up blowing it out of the glass and onto my lap because the waitress had accidentally put the straw in upside down. I could tell things weren't going very well, so I decided it wouldn't hurt to be blunt. I looked at the girl and I said, hey, would you be cool if I peed on you? And she said, what? And I said, could you pass the salt? She just got up and left. The waitress came, I paid for the check, and where it said tip, I wrote, never trust dentists with fucked up teeth. My ex-girlfriend only has one leg. You shouldn't laugh at that, that's actually true. Andy met her. Last year, while we were still dating, we attended a charity event that raises money for cancer research. And while she was busy eyeballing the bake sale, I snuck off and signed us up for the three-legged race. Figured there was no way we could lose. At the starting line, they tied my left ankle to her prosthetic right leg. And the race started, but we didn't do as well as I thought. About a third of the way through, we were in last place. But I really didn't want to lose, so I reached over and detached her fake leg. She fell over, but I came back to win the race by myself. Then she broke up with me. At least I got a ribbon out of it. My only regret is that we weren't there to defend our title this year. Sometimes when I'm bored, I like to play hangman by myself. Take your time, it'll get there. The other day I saw a homeless man holding a dirty cardboard sign that said, hungry, anything helps. So I gave him a poster board and some markers. Now he can make a better sign. I wrote all my jokes on my hand. It's nice to know it's good for something else. When I was 5, I got spanked for hitting my sister. She was trying to build a snowman out of red Play-Doh. I knocked it down and I gave her the white Play-Doh so she could build a snowman that was anatomically correct. She started complaining that I was stifling her creativity, and I lost my temper and punched her right in the face. Mom pulled me aside and she said, Josh, Santa always knows when you're bad, and if you misbehave, he won't bring you any presents. I thought that was bullshit, so I converted to Judaism. I went to temple, and the rabbi told me I had to wear a yarmulke inside the temple so I could show my respect for God. I said, I'm not here to respect God, I'm here to disrespect Santa. Rabbi threw me out. I used to get teased on the school bus. One day I was complaining about it. My grandfather looked at me and said, you know, when I was your age, I had to walk to school, uphill, both ways. I said, well, if you were that fucking stupid, school probably wasn't gonna help. He pulled off his belt and started beating me right there in the living room. I still have a scar from that beating, which I was going to show you tonight, but I accidentally left it at home. I failed my first day of kindergarten. The teacher wanted us to play duck, duck, goose, but I refused to participate because I'm not prejudiced against geese. Years later, I found out geese were assholes, and I felt like an idiot for defending them. When I was little, my dad used to have a pet snake. One day I watched him feed it. He dropped a mouse in the tank, and right before the snake bit the mouse, my dad looked at me and said, "Do you know what that mouse is saying right now?" I said, "No." He said, "That mouse is saying, 'Oh, shit.'" Then later on my second day of kindergarten, the teacher was covering animals and the various noises that they make. And after covering several of the more common animals, the teacher looked up and said, "How does the mouse go?" which stumped everyone in the class except me. Looking back, I think she was looking for squeak squeak, but I raised my hand and said, "Oh shit." The teacher started shaking her head uncontrollably. Went to her desk and took 3 Tylenol PM. And then they called my parents in for a conference. Dad showed up drunk. Teacher looked at him and said, "Well, I see where Josh's bad behavior comes from." My dad said, "I know, I think his mother's a cunt too." Teacher started crying. Dad just laughed madly and ripped a pencil sharpener out of the wall. Then the next day the teacher pulled me aside and said, "I'm sorry, Josh, I didn't realize you had so many problems at home." I said, "I didn't realize I had any problems until you just said that." But thanks for bringing that to my attention. Now I'll go hang myself. When I was little, I had trouble learning to use the toilet, so my parents bought me a set of potty training wheels. Now I can only use the bathroom if I'm going 15 miles an hour. Which isn't easy. Mostly the wind resistance just blows the urine onto my stomach and then it trickles down my leg. I have a theory that this would be easier for women to do, but so far I haven't been able to find one who's willing to try. Not even on Craigslist. I sometimes wonder if Craigslist would still be successful if the man's name had happened to be Schindler. I guess not. When I was 7, I tried to get myself emancipated from my mother because I found out she was the tooth fairy. I wasn't mad that she lied, I was just weirded out that she was the one collecting my teeth the whole time. What kind of sick bastard collects her children's teeth? I took my mother to court on charges of child abuse and she countersued me for defamation of character. I didn't have enough money for a lawyer, so I decided to represent myself. The jury acquitted me because I was cute. Gave me $10,000 in punitive damages. I thought about spending it on Pokemon cards, but I decided against it since I wasn't a fag. So instead, I bought a hot tub, a trampoline, and one of those gigantic plastic ball pits. I was the coolest kid in school until Katie Montoya developed a vaccine for cooties, which is like elementary school AIDS. I was jealous of all the attention she was getting, so I drowned her in my hot tub. When I was 7, I was helping my dad fix a tractor, and he asked me to hand him something called a Jesus clip. I wasn't sure what that was, so I guessed and gave him a handful of nails. And I was wrong. Dad got really angry, said, "Those are not Jesus clips. Jesus clips are little circular rings." I said, "Circular rings is a redundancy." Dad spanked me twice. Problem was I was still confused about whether or not every depiction of the crucifixion was historically accurate. Was Jesus murdered with nails or little circular rings? I tried to find out, but every minister I talked to had a nervous breakdown. One of them got so outraged by my blasphemy that he told me I was going to rot in hell, at which point I told him souls can't decompose. He started having a seizure. I thought about calling 911, but I didn't want to waste my anytime minutes, so I sent them a text message instead. Then I started praying for him, but he died anyway, which I thought was hilarious. At the funeral, his wife yelled at me, saying it was my fault that I didn't call 911 while her husband lay there dying. I said, "Why are you so upset? He's in heaven." She said, "I know, but I still wish we could be together." I said, "That can be arranged." Do you like hot tubs? Thank you.